Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to talk to you about cold messaging on LinkedIn because I know in general that cold messaging is a really difficult thing for most people. Traditionally, it's quite a spammy thing, and the way that most salespeople go about it, or the way that most people in general go about it, is that it's a numbers game. So if I hit 100, I might get one response. If I hit 200, I'll get two responses. And so because it is a numbers game, there's no authenticity, there's no genuine interest in the other person. And because of that, we have a real problem there. So in this video, I want to walk you through my two exact processes that I have actually used on LinkedIn when reaching out and gain responses from the respective people that I've been speaking to. One of them, in fact, is Australia's biggest online fashion retailer, and I reached out to the CMO and he responded by actually inviting me to their headquarters to sit down and talk video and digital. Okay, so as I mentioned, I have two approaches. So my first approach is that typical cold call message, and I have a 4-step process that I go by. The first step is to personalize the message. One of the biggest mistakes that I see on LinkedIn, and by far the stupidest mistake, is that people bulk message, and as a result, they often leave the namespace blank, or they accidentally leave in the template message, like hey name, or hey XYZ, or hey F name I've even had. And now F name is the merge tag you use when you're sending emails that tells your email provider to pull in that person's first name, sub out F name, and put their first name in. So by the time it reaches my email, it says, hey Sarah, not hey F name. So these people are copying and pasting that email, putting it into LinkedIn, and it's saying, hey, F name. And it's just mind-blowing as to how many of these I get. So personalize your message. So the second thing I like to do is acknowledge their time and focus on brevity. So you'll see in this message that I've said, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but just wanted to say that. So immediately in this message, he understood that I wasn't here to waste his time. Now, here's the thing, you actually have to keep your message brief. I've had some of these emails in my LinkedIn inbox, and they start with something similar, but then they go on to put 3 freaking paragraphs. You cannot do that. You have to keep to your word and be brief. Now, the third thing I like to do is leave a genuine comment. Now, I'm not someone who likes to reach out just for the sake of reaching out. I only reach out when I really want to connect with someone for a particular reason. I also really don't buy into flattery. I think anyone can see through somebody else just trying to flatter them for the sake of getting their foot in the door. So I highly recommend being extremely genuine in what you have to say if you choose to use the compliment method. So as you'll see in my message here, I've just said that you and your team are building an awesome brand, and I love watching it grow. And that's the truth. I was seeing Showpo everywhere at the time, and I really loved watching what they were doing, because as I work with smaller brands, I can actually take a leaf out of their book and apply it to the brands that I work with, knowing that these guys are getting astronomical growth and sales. And the fourth thing I like to do is connect on something like-minded. So this whole message has to do with their digital and their branding, which obviously is a like-minded link between us. But I even just threw in at the end, it's the brand geek in me, just to connect on that branding aspect of it, just to say this isn't a robotic message. This is me, this is my personality, but we are also like-minded. And basically that's the process. So as you can see here in the message, he pretty much responded straight away. And now I want to give you my bonus tip. My response to him, instead of closing down the conversation, or instead of just saying thank you, or trying to go into a really in-depth conversation, I kept it light and I kept it humorous. So I just said, I'll continue to stalk you because that's funny, because we all stalk each other on social media, and then clarified that just in case we didn't quite share the same brand of humor. And I really recommend that. Use your personality to help you stand out and to help you shine. Okay, now my second approach that I have for you still follows that 4-step process, but the beginning is a little bit different. Something that I really like to do on LinkedIn to increase my chances of that interaction actually happening and whatever I have in mind actually taking place is that I like to comment and engage on that person's statuses and the things that they're interested in on LinkedIn. Rather than going straight for that cold message, you can warm it up simply by getting in front of them. Maybe you check their profile, maybe you like some of their statuses, maybe you leave a comment, maybe you leave an opinion. But that way you've already touched base, and by the time you hop in their inbox or their in-mail, it's not as cold as the original method. Now in this particular example, I had been following along with this person. I had been tracking them on Twitter at the time as well, engaging in their statuses and also liking things that they liked and really just trying to get in front of them so that by the time I hit the email, it wasn't as cold as it could have been. The second part of this process is that I actually referenced the fact that I had been engaging on their statuses. Now, this person typically gets hundreds of comments and a lot of engagement, so I could have been easily missed, but I did reference back to the thoughtful nature of those statuses and the fact that I had been reading them and how I actually appreciated them so that it wasn't disingenuous. Is that the word? Oh, gee. Sorry, disingenuous. Once I had done that, I pretty much put in everything from that first 4-step process. I personalized it. I didn't necessarily acknowledge time in this because I was referencing back to a place where we'd already engaged. I genuinely complimented them and I connected on something like-minded and spoke about my experience within the industry. Now, as a result, there was a bit of back and forth. Turns out I didn't really want to get in front of that person in the first place, but it worked. And that's all you have to do. Now, here's a ninja tip if you want to 10x that authenticity. LinkedIn now has the capability of voice messaging on that platform. Can you imagine if I went back to these people and actually sent a voice message instead of writing something that everyone does that cold calls? Very few people use the voice messaging functionality, and the ability that that voice messaging functionality has to immediately connect you with that person because they can hear the tone in your voice and they can hear whether you're being genuine or not. It just 10x's the whole situation. And I can guarantee you that if you start standing out in that way, you're going to get the response that you want purely because nobody else is doing it. So if you want to use the voice messaging method, all you have to do is overlay the 4-step process into the voice message. Personalize it. Let them know you're not here to waste their time. Genuinely compliment them, connect on something like-minded, and get out of there. From this place, with both approaches or the voice messaging approach, you can nurture that relationship, touch back in from time to time until it feels appropriate and seems right to take it to the next step, whether that's a coffee, whether that's a call, whether that's a lead magnet. However you choose to get that person to where you want them is up to you. But this is how you take that first step in a way that is going to get you the response you want every time. Now, if you guys loved this video, I would love for you to pop down and hit the subscribe button. Also, hit the bell notification so that you get notified every single week when I put out these videos. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.